Hey everyone, and welcome to the Defining Your Life podcast, where we focus on living in our purpose, practicing presence, and activating our power in each moment. I'm Marsharelle, your resident pep talk provider, and I invite you to join me as we continue to learn, lift each other up, and strive to level up together. Because we are never finished defining our lives, and it takes a village, so let's build one. Stay tuned for the episode. Hey everyone, I hope that all is well and that you had a great week and that you were able to do at least one thing that brought you some joy. Thankfully, for me, I was able to squeeze in a little chill time with some friends and unwind for a few hours, which was very beneficial ahead of the new work week. And, I was reflecting and just thinking about how little it takes sometimes to get us through. Sometimes it takes is a few hours to rejuvenate us, or in some cases, revive us, right? And while an extended vacation would be amazing right now, believe me, it would be amazing. I'm very content savoring simple gatherings that can bridge the gap until that time comes. What are some activities that bridge the gap for you while you're waiting for your ultimate reward, I'll call it? If you don't have any or none come up for you as you listen to this pod, I want you to take inventory of some of those smaller joys in your life that could bridge the gap for you, and lean into them when it starts to get tough to chug along, and things start feeling heavy. Now, speaking of chugging along, today really is a simple reminder about the agency we have over our own lives. It can be easy for us to, and by us, I mean me, but I'm sure some of you as well, but it can be easy to get caught up in that hamster wheel that is life, going round and round, each day feeling like it's bleeding into the next with no idea how to change or transition from where we are to where we want to be. And it can feel like there's no escape. That is a heavy feeling, right? And that makes it hard to chug along when you feel like, how will I get out of this? How will I feel like I've escaped this rat race, this hamster wheel, as I call it? The truth is, though, there's always an escape. It's just a matter of what we are willing to do in order to find our way out. When it comes to your life and your purpose, are you willing to make the hard decisions? The unpopular ones that maybe deep down are the right ones, but that may ruffle a few feathers? Yes, it can be scary to change, like very scary. But it's even scarier when there are people who depend on you, or you're trying to live up to specific expectations, or maybe you're naturally a people pleaser and you're sure that a contrary decision will impact not just you, but other people in your life. It's way easier to stand by and watch and judge the play-by-play of someone else's life or follow an existing playbook rather than do the work to write our own and live out our life and calling to the fullest. These blockers, and yes, even something positive can be a blocker, right? If it's going to deter you from getting to where you ought to go, these things can make you question what you know to be true about your path. And everything may not be clear on your path in a specific moment, right? Some things are revealed as you move along. But if you're not moving along, you won't ever have any clarity. So these blockers, they can make you question what you may have clearly heard God tell you, if you're in the business of listening, that is. But you got to know that you know. Know that you know, y'all. And you also have to know that taking the path that you're aligned with, that you were commissioned to walk, doesn't mean that the road won't be bumpy. You still might run down a few pairs of shoes and you'll still get tired. But weariness on the right path looks a whole lot different than it does when you're trying to assimilate or walk someone else's appointed path. And it doesn't mean that because I'm going to be weary, or I know that that might be the case, or because I know I'm going to struggle, it doesn't mean that we should be aiming to avoid that path, particularly for things we're called to do. Your life wasn't designed to look like the picture someone else has painted, right? We all have a brush and a palette and beautiful art inside of us that we should be blessing the world with. But we have to trust and know that when we step out on faith to create our one-of-a-kind works of art, that God won't let us down. If there is something that has been in your heart to pursue, or something you feel a tug to walk away from, and I'm talking about those things that are rooted deep down in you that you can't separate from, keeps coming back up. You know these feelings were planted in you about something or somewhere you need to go, right? What are you going to do about it? These aren't the types of things that you allow to wither and die or weed out from inside of you, right? Last week, when my mother was on the pod as our rapid fire feature guest, she reminded me of this. If you haven't checked out the episode, by the way, it's episode 3 of season 2. And right now you're listening to episode 4. But anyway, she talked about never giving up. If there's a gift inside of you that you're supposed to be walking in, and you keep burying it and making excuses as to why you can't do it or why it won't work, guess what? It never leaves you. It will show up in a myriad of ways, most of which will be unpleasant, right? Depression, regret, discomfort, unhappiness. And you may even find that you're pushed out of the boxes that you keep trying to fit yourself into because you are trying to travel a path that isn't yours. If you feel like the dreamer in you is gone, it's probably because you've been ignoring her. Keeping the dream alive is a test of faith, and the only way to pass the test is to sow into the dream, take action so that you can see the fruits of your faith. Stop waiting for it to fall in your lap, because I hate to break it to you, you probably already know. It's not going to, or it probably would have happened already, okay? Because we're all waiting for it to fall out the sky, but it's not gonna. So what are you going to do? Are you ready to stop sitting on the sideline waiting for your next opportunity? Are you ready to get up off the bench and go after it? Good things come to those who take action. And if there is something bubbling up underneath the surface, perhaps a dream you lost track of, I pray that it would be revealed to you, and that in that dream, you would find yourself, part of you that maybe you have forgotten or lost, or maybe you never even knew that part of you existed. But I pray that you would reactivate the dreamer in you. Walk boldly in your gifts, yet humbled by your gratitude for them. Because what a privilege to celebrate the uniqueness that is you and the fullness of who God made you to be. So I want to leave you with a challenge. If you find yourself sitting on that bench I mentioned earlier, stand up. If you don't know what to do next, pray. But there are a lot of us that actually do know what needs to be done next. Maybe you've rehearsed what change would look like 1,000,000 times, right? Every day you're daydreaming while you're at work, performing your daily job tasks, sitting at your desk, staring at a computer screen, wishing that you were someplace else. And at some point, you're going to have to make a move. And maybe that move is off the bench. And maybe that move is lighting a match and setting your heart on fire because you've truly given up and refused to move. But if you're listening to the pod, I know for sure that the latter is not your fate, or else you would just be wasting your time here, right? We get up off of benches around here, and we take the first step and the second step. And when we trip on some rocky terrain, someone is there to help us up. That's what villages are for. That's what defining your life is all about. So what are you going to do about it? For starters, you're going to resolve to never give up. Now, how was that for a pep talk? I hope you're feeling peppy. But I'm going to leave you with a few words from Stephen Richards today. Success will be within your reach only when you start reaching out for it. Thanks so much for listening today. If what you've been hearing has been beneficial, share, rate, review, and follow the pod and the blog. Got some thoughts or ideas to share? Send me an email or a DM. I'm always excited to hear from you all. And I can't wait to chat with you again next week. Take care until then.